Today we're going to be talking about injections. So I have 3 different injections that I'm going to show you how to do. Subcutaneous, intradermal, and intramuscular. So that's going to have 3 different demonstrations. I've got 3 separate needles, 3 separate syringes, and I have my little, it's a little skin simulator here because I'm not going to stick anybody today. So for the first part, I'm going to talk about subcutaneous injections. So subcutaneous is going into the fat part of the skin. So most commonly as a medical assistant, with this injection, you're going to do allergy injections, okay? It can go anywhere from a 45-degree angle is normally what we're going to do, and this is what I'm going to teach you. But you may see it have to be done at a 90-degree angle depending on the needle size. So like also subcutaneous injections means insulin, heparin. Those would be given in 90-degree because of the needle that you'd use. But we are going to use a 3 ml syringe. And this one already has a needle on it because I always use a draw-up needle separate from the needle that I'm going to do the injection with. So I have that plus my needle that I'm going to change to. Now this is a 25 by 5/8 safety needle. That's what we're going to use to draw up for our subcutaneous. Intradermal, that's most commonly you're going to hear this as a TB skin test. So it's just what it says. It's under that first little layer of skin. It is going to be this little syringe. It's even called tuberculin, 1 cc. The little thing here. Now max that we're going to use is 0.1 mLs. And this one's done at a 15-degree angle of insertion with no aspiration. The needle that we're going to use for this is 26 gauge by 3/8. And now our intramuscular. So this, we can do several ways, and there's several places that we're going to talk about. So this goes into the muscle. Okay, you got your deltoid muscle, which is your arm, or if you're getting your flu shots and vaccines, most commonly go there. Antibiotics, steroids, birth control usually go into the hip area because it's a higher dose. So when it comes to the deltoid muscle, do not exceed 1 cc, 1 ml of medication in that area. Now, if you're doing the hip, then you can go up to 3 mLs because it's a bigger space for the medicine to be absorbed. So this one's going to go at a 90-degree angle with aspiration. And when I'm talking about aspiration, it means pulling back on the plunger to see if you've hit a blood vessel. Because if you've hit a blood vessel and you see a blood return in that needle, you're going to start over. Okay. So I'm going to use my other syringe, 3 cc. It's already got a needle on it. Then I'm going to switch it to this 22 gauge by 1 inch. For our intramuscular. So I went ahead and opened my package. So I've got my 3 ml syringe. I've got a 22 gauge needle about 1 inch long. Already on this to do the draw up. So very first thing I do usually is go ahead and I pull back on my plunger a little bit to loosen it. I make sure that my needle is tight. I've got my medication that I'm going to use. I get an alcohol pad. Always, 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 when you're using multi-dose vial like this that you get out of the cabinet, you're going to clean the top of it off and let that air dry. Now I'm going to do the draw up of medication. I am only going to use 0.5 mLs. So right here is the marker. I'm going to pull back to the top of the black line there. So we're at 0.5. I'm going to remove my cap. I'm going to go ahead and inject my needle into the vial. I'm going to push the air in and then pull it up. And I'm going to start pulling back. I pull back just a little bit more than what I actually need because that's going to give me room to get any air bubbles out without losing any medication. So, usually I just go ahead and I pull all the way back out. You may have to give it a good flick or two to get the air bubbles out. Then I go straight up until my little black line is on the 0.5. So I've got 0.5. Now I'm going to switch my needles. I'm going to unscrew this. Now I'm going to put on my injection needle. This is the 22 by 1 inch intramuscular. So this is going to go into the muscle. So we're going to pretend this is our deltoid. Now one of my biggest things when I'm doing injections and teaching injections is we do not switch hands at all under any circumstances. We clean our area. Let that air dry. Now, this injection is going to go 90 degrees. So whether this is a deltoid or the hip injection, you're going to do 90 degrees. All right. Bevel's going to be facing up. The little hole, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's going to be facing up. The medicine is going to come out there and distribute. So I kind of hold this just like a little dart. I know that's what I tell everybody. Kind of like we're throwing darts. It's one little quick motion. You pull your skin tight. 90 degrees. You're going to go in all the way. You're going to come back here, pull back on your plunger just a little bit to see if you got a blood return. And then you're going to inject all your medicine in. Stretch your skin back out, and then pull your needle out. Your safety, all with one hand. Okay, so now we are going to switch to the subcutaneous injection. Like always, I make sure my needle's on tight, pull back on my plunger. Clean the top of my bottle off. Set that this side till it air dries. We're going to cleanse our skin. Now we're going to pretend this is the back of someone's arm. Right above the elbow, going up. You're going to pinch at least 1.5 to 2 inches of skin. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and draw up 0.5 here too. And then you're going to flip your bottle up. So that I always get a little bit more than what I need. To ensure I get all the air bubbles out. This is the only time that you can recap a needle is when you're changing them and it's not been in anybody. Okay, so this one we're going to go at it a little differently because we're going to have to pinch skin. And this one's going at a 45-degree angle. Look at the difference in the length of that. So 45 degrees. We're going to go up all the way. You're going to let go, pull back, and then inject your medicine in. Pinch and pull back out. And then safety. Okay, I went ahead and drew up for the TB skin test You can see I've got the little 1 ml syringe. I've got the 26 gauge needle on it. I'm going to try to do this with one hand. Okay, and I have my hot dog winner. That's what we usually practice on. Now with this, we're barely going under the first layer of skin. So, and we're not going down at any angle. Just want to make sure that we have covered the bevel. And we want to create a bubble, which didn't happen. Okay, so now I have 2 hands. And what we got to do is create a wheel. So when we're having a TB skin test, it's done on the forearm. Usually 3 to 4 finger lengths past the bend in your elbow. It's hard to show you. I can't see more. But we're going to go at it almost parallel with the skin. And all we're really going to do is cover the bevel. And you can see that wheel forming, and that's what we want. A nice bubble.